Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to learn how to draw the mousetrap car and Autodesk Inventor and cut it out on the laser cutter. Alright, you know the drill. Red text means you take notes. We're going to turn these notes in when we're done. Green text means do what it says. Okay, write this down. There's different kind of file types. There's an Inventor. There's IPT. That's a part. That's like a 3D part. That's something we'll make for the 3D printer. Okay, we'll use that for the hubs, but not right now. An IM is an assembly. That's when you have something like a motor that has like all sorts of moving parts and pistons, all sorts of different parts working together. What we're going to use is a drawing, a DWG. It's two-dimensional, and that's why it's going to work well for the laser cutter. Write this down. Okay, so download the template. The first thing you need to do is download the template. This will allow us to how it to work with the laser cutter. So we're going to go to Applied Physics. We're going to go to Templates, and if you look at the templates, you will see that there, well, which one is, oh, that's the one for the laser cutter. Okay, that is for the 3D printer. So you're going to click on this, you're going to hit download, and then you're going to click on it, okay, and then you're going to open it, and so that thing is not in your folder with your name on it. Okay, so when you open it, you'll get something, it won't be all done like this, but you'll open up an Inventor file, but it's not saved in your folder with your name on it. So the first thing you need to do is go File, or whatever this is, click on the I and go Save As, and you're going to save it as something, give it a good name, okay, and save it in your folder, in your name on it, in your Applied Physics folder, and save it in your Advanced Mousetrap Car folder. Okay, so if you don't save it in your folder, it's going to disappear. Okay, if you don't save it in your folder, it's going to disappear. So make sure that you do that. All right, save it in your ape folder in a new folder called Advanced Mousetrap. Okay, if you don't know how to do that, ask. Okay, so we need to set it up for millimeters. Millimeters is the units of science. Okay, so click on Tools, Document Settings, and then change it. So we're going to go to Tools. We're going to go to Document Settings. Okay, and so you can change, you go to Standard, and then if you want it in millimeters, you click there. If you want it in inches, you click there. ANSI, or ANSI. Okay, inches, millimeters. Okay. Okay, so we have to set it up for the laser cutter. Okay, make it the right sheet. It needs to be 12 by 24. Okay, so what we're going to do is, you should have a sheet. If you don't have a sheet, let's see, how do you make a sheet? Somewhere in here. Okay, so you go to Place Views and you create a new sheet. But you should have something called Sheet 1. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to right click and you're going to go to Edit the Sheet. Okay, and number one, give it a name, so whatever part you're going to work on. So if you're going to work on the frame, call it main frame. Okay, so you're going to click on this, and you're going to do a custom size in inches, okay, and it needs to be 12 by 24. The height is 12, the width is 24, and that'll set you up for the laser cutter. Okay, and then the next thing you need to do is create a sketch, okay, and then, draw a line or something. Okay, so there'd be some lines up here. Draw a line, and then here, I guess I better show you. Okay, so you'll draw a line or something, so you'll just go and draw a line, and then once you're done, you'll finish the sketch. Okay, and so now you'll see the sketch here. You're going to right click on the sketch. We'll edit that sketch. No. Sorry about that, not that. So we're going to right click on the sketch and we're going to go to Properties. Now you have to set up these lines so that it knows that you want to cut. Okay, so set them up to continuous. You're going to send, if you're in millimeters, it's going to be 0.03 millimeters. If you're in inches, it's going to be 0.001 inches. Okay, so continuous, that, and then the color set up there. Okay, and then that way, when you're done, it'll be red and it'll be the right size, and it'll recognize that this is going to be, these are cuts. You're going to cut these out. If you want them to be an etch, you'll change them to blue. Okay, let's see what's next. Okay, so we just did this. Write this down. The line type equals continuous. The line weight is 0.001 in inches, or 0.03 millimeters. The color has to be red right there. Write that down. Otherwise, it won't cut. Okay, if you want to set up the grid so you can see like the grid in the background, you can follow these instructions. It'll show you basically a grid lines in the back. Okay. Okay, write this down. A bearing is a hollow tube. Okay, so this goes inside this, and this probably will spin depending on how you do it. The way I set mine up, this one spins. But at any rate, these things spin, and the purpose is to use a material like brass that reduces friction. Okay. All right, measure, measure, measure. Make sure before you get started in drawing that you measure your cardboard, you measure your axle, you measure your bearing, so that when you go to draw, you know what you're doing. Okay, so watch me make stuff, and what does a trim command? We're going to answer these in a second. Okay, so what we can do here is, so you can see, to make something like this, so this is the frame that I have, right? And so you can see that I want to have cutouts here. So here's what I would do. I do this something like this. So I'm going to edit this particular sketch, and you can see all these dimensions on there that are a little bit hard to see. But the way I made this thing is I started off with a rectangle, okay, and I made it the right size. So you can see that I typed in whatever I wanted. So instead of 152, I'm going to type in 150 and then hit tab, and then I'm going to type in 28. Okay, now these are just random, but I actually measured how big I wanted it. Okay, and then the next thing, we're going to have the little cutouts in here somewhere. So I'll go with a line, and I'll say, okay, I'm going to start here, and I want to go down, oh, let's say 8. And then I say, oh, I want to come in, and this would be the measurement of my cardboard. So I'd have to measure my cardboard, and I'd come in, let's say my cardboard is 4 millimeters thick. Okay, and then I hit enter, and then, okay, I want this to be 8, enter, and I'm going to come back, and then I'm going to come down, I'm going to draw my line again, I'm going to come down 8, okay, and then I'm going to come from here over. Okay, let's see what this looks like finished. That didn't come out how I wanted. Well, at any rate, so let's try that. So what we're going to do at this point is we're going to go back and we're going to edit the sketch. Okay, and let's try this over again. This isn't working. I'm gonna undo this. Let's retry this real quick. Okay, so let's try that again. So we're going to go with our line. All right, so again, we're going to say we have a line, and we want it to be, let's say we want it to be 8 millimeters. So we type in 8, and there you have the line. Okay, and then from here, you're going to draw a line from that point in, and let's say we want it to be 4. Okay, and then we want to draw a line from there, and we want that to be 8 again. Okay, so we're going to type in 8 and then hit tab, and then we're going to click, and then we're going to come back in right to this line, and then we're going to draw our line down. So we'll draw a new line down from here. We're going to go down, and we're going to make it 8, tab, and we're going to click, and then we're going to draw our line in, and we said the cardboard was 4. We'll click, and then we'll come straight down and click. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to trim, and we're going to, well, let's hit finish and see what it looks like without the dimensions. Okay, so here's what it looks like. So let's go back into edit. Okay, so we want to trim some stuff, so we're going to trim, and we can click there, and we can click there, and we can click, oh, it doesn't like that, we won't click on that one, edit. So then I hit finish, and you can see, so it has our nice little cardboard cutout, so we trimmed things. Okay, so the question was, what does the dimension thing do? Well, what the dimension thing will do is, if you click and drag, and you type in something, you can specify how big you want it. And then if you go back to it and say, oh, I don't want that to be 12 millimeters, I want that to be 13, you can adjust it. Okay, so you can use the dimension to force things the size you want, and you can use the trim tool to get rid of stuff. All right, now let's go back. Let's go back and take a look at, we have a couple more things to do. Okay, write this down, okay, after I'm done talking, but check it out. Okay, so if you want to make a hole for this bearing, right? Well, you have to measure the bearing. The problem is that the laser beam doesn't cut like this. It cuts like this. The laser beam actually has a thickness to it. So if you measure this and you make the hole the exact size, it'll actually come out bigger. So when cutting out a hole for an axle bearing, make the cut smaller than the axle to make up for the thickness of the laser beam. So whatever you measure, subtract 0.012 inches or 0.031 millimeters. Okay. All right, so and then for the 3D printer, it's actually the opposite, but we'll talk about that later. Write these all down. So, all right, here's what this means. Remember that number, 0.031. Okay, so let's say this. So I'm going to edit this sketch. Okay, so let's say I'm making my cutout for my bearing. Okay, and so I click here, and let's say that my measurement was, let's say it was 3 millimeters. Actually, let me measure, see what this thing actually is. Okay, so my thing I'm measuring with the calipers is actually 4.2 millimeters. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract minus, what did I say? It was, hold on, 0.31. So I'm going to minus 0.31. Okay, and then so it automatically does the math for me, and that's the right size. Okay, and that'll make it to where it's tight, but you can actually fit it through. Okay. Okay, I think that's it. Let's see if there's any more slides. There's no more slides. Any other questions you have, and you can ask me.